The first criminal charges have been laid in the massive investigation into last week's terror attacks. 3 men from Detroit are now among the more than 100 people in custody, as law enforcement agencies follow thousands of leads. CBC's David Holton has more on the investigation.
The FBI announced 3 more arrests today after raiding this house in Detroit. Court records said the 3 suspects possessed airport diagrams and false documents.
They were charged with charges of identity fraud, fraud and misuse of visas, and conspiracy to commit these offenses.
The FBI is still trying to find out how this and a dozen other flight training schools in the U.S. became schools for suicide bombers. This Cessna 172 was flown 3 times in August by Hani Hanjour. A few weeks later, the FBI believes that Hanjour burst into the cabin of an American Airlines Boeing, probably helped kill the pilots, then steered the jet into the Pentagon.
Some of the basic controls are the same for climbing, descending, and turning, so that's definitely could help him to direct a jet airliner once it's airborne.
Marcel Bernard, the flight school director here, says that Hanjour and his colleagues learned valuable lessons on the Cessna and no questions were asked.
We really don't do any special checks other than just getting a current address and phone number.
Astonishingly, the FBI now believes that all 19 hijackers attended flight training schools in the U.S. While none of the 19 aroused any suspicions, another potential suicide bomber, now in custody, was detained in August when he applied for pilot training. That man is Zacarias Moussaoui, possibly the FBI's most valuable witness. Moussaoui was detained after he took flying lessons at this school in Oklahoma and applied to use a flight simulator in Minnesota. Other leads could come from Ayub Ali Khan and Mohammed Azmath, who flew out of Newark, New Jersey at the same time as the hijackings, were grounded in St. Louis, and were later detained in Texas carrying $5,000 in cash and box cutters similar to those used in the attacks. Evidence could also come from Al-Badr Al-Hazmi, a Saudi doctor now under arrest who worked at an Air Force base in San Antonio and didn't show up for work on September 11. Attorney General John Ashcroft at the Pentagon today to thank rescue and recovery workers said he's pleased with the investigation so far.
We are going to pursue every lead, and we will prosecute every infraction. We will intensify efforts.
Rusty Capps, former FBI counter-terrorist agent, is sure that investigators will be able to prosecute some key suspects.
I am absolutely confident of that. I mean, it's all about cooperation, and I see high levels of cooperation. So, as I said, in these banking institutions and between countries right now that, are really going to be unprecedented.
But here at FBI headquarters, investigators are aware of some potentially huge roadblocks. Key suspects may refuse to talk, and even if they do, they may not be able to provide evidence linking the attacks to Osama bin Laden, the suspected mastermind of the operation. David Holton, CBC News, Washington.